Please hit the subscribe button for more content.
Hello, welcome back to another video from footballbetdata.com. Picking up from the video yesterday, if you've seen the video where we looked at the games in the English Championship to some degree of success, I would say. Want to do the same again for the games tonight and also answer some of the questions that have come in through the user Telegram channel, through email directly, or through comments on the YouTube video itself. So I'm going to be looking at the 5 games tonight: Cardiff QPR, Leeds Luton, Middlesbrough Blackburn, Portsmouth Millwall, Derby Swansea. So let's get in and start examining the Cardiff game first. So select Cardiff. Now, one of the questions that came in was, could this dashboard be used by league rather than by team? Simple answer is yes, it can. All you would need to do is deselect here, clear the filter down so you've not specified a team, and select the league or leagues of your choice, and then the rest of the criteria as you need it. So you would be looking at a league overview rather than a team overview, and perfectly acceptable and understandable why somebody would want to do that. It would probably lead to a lot more games being clustered here because you'd have a bigger pool of games rather than being a little bit more unique when we're filtering it down by teams themselves. And same with seasons as well. So you could, if you only want to look at the last 3 seasons, last 5, last 10, whatever, I've got all of these in here. So it's just a demo really to you how this works. Like I said, I will commercialize the file. There are things I'm adding in all the time. So being able to do these videos, get your feedback, is twofold really. One, it shows you how to use it, but secondly, it gets opinions and questions from people, and doesn't necessarily mean that all of them are achievable, but gets the feedback so that when this does get released, most of the questions have already been answered. Right, let's look at Cardiff 1.92. I have already updated the file today, although it shouldn't make any difference because none of the teams that we're going to be looking at today would have played yesterday, so the results that were in there yesterday will be up to date. Cardiff QPR, that looks quite generous on Cardiff, doesn't it? But let's have a look at the over under 2.5, 2.01. So literally right at the bottom of this quartile. I'll select all the way up to 2.5. Another question that came in, I think, was somebody said about the speeds as well. I've got a million of rows of data in here. Probably don't need all of those. So if you want it to be more efficient and effective, then yeah, you cut out. You don't have to have all the amount of seasons. So instead of where I've said out with a slicer, you're going to replicate this or use this. You have less historic data, certainly less to calculate through the Power Query if you have less seasons in there. Same as well with the leagues. The leagues you're not really interested in, just keep the ones that you are interested in here. But the speeds they're not too bad considering how much it's having to churn through when I'm making these calculations. So let's have a look. Yeah, we've got all of that selected. So Cardiff QPR over 2.5 goals is currently priced at 2.01 average bookmaker price. I'm doing this quite a way out before kickoff, so about 6 hours before kickoff. So as per the video I did before, the closer you can do this to kickoff, the more accurate. Certainly after the teams are released 1 hour before kickoff, because that impacts on odds. So really looking at doing this 40 minutes, 30 minutes before kickoff to allow yourself enough time. I don't have that time, unfortunately, today, so I'm doing it now just to give you a flavour of how it sits today, but with that caveat in that these odds and these odds can change, so the picture might look slightly different come kickoff. So let's look at the Cardiff QPR. I've got it on screen here. So a big spread, really, quite an even how you would expect really a home draw away 20 game criteria to look. Half of them home wins, and the other half split between draw and away wins. And there's nothing really that jumps out as being any particular value there. Most popular scoreline is 0-0, but we do have quite a lot. So we've got 2-2-2s, 2-1-2s, Looking a bit further out, we've got 3-2-1s. There's 2 other home wins, so you've got a wide range really from 0-0 right through to other home win, and you've also got a 2-3 in there as well. Just looking at these methods, there is actually small value on Cardiff in the coefficient between 0.26 and 0.5, which is the difference between the home and the away odds calculation. There is a video on our YouTube channel about coefficients if you wanted to go and watch that, presented by one of our followers, Mike. So that would probably be a game. If I looked at that just before, half an hour before the off, there's probably not much I would really do with that at all. I'd probably just skip it. And as per the video I've done yesterday and before, there is absolutely, you don't want to be playing every game. 20% of games probably that you look at. So if you're looking at a 10 match league, 20-team league, 10 matches on a Saturday, for instance, you probably want to play 2 of them. And again, that helps with your speeds as well. If you're looking at a smaller section, smaller amount of leagues, a certain time period, that can speed things up for you. One of the other questions I got asked was about the in-play and what this can do. So I did show this, and I will show it on the video when we do go to release this. But what you can do is filter by, let's assume, so for in-play, as it says on the tin here, if the game was 0-1 at half time, what it will show you is for these leagues. So this is where we're talking about being league non-team specific. You can see for games of this makeup where it's been 0-1 at half time, you can see here how those games have finished up. You can also do it by time of first goal, time of first home goal, time of first away goal. So away team scores in the first 10 minutes. What does that have on the impact of being more than 1 goal, 2 goals, 3 goals ahead? The other factor is the you can put in the sort of create the game state. So let's say after 20 minutes, the score is 1-0. That shows how many games have ended with a home win in the heat map, using the heat map games, all games in the database. So there's been 20 in the whole database. So that's ignoring the over 2.5 odds filter that we have on. 15 games, 10 of them been home wins, 5 that haven't. And of those 5, 2 have been draws, 3 away wins. And that gives you the percentage, that occurrence rate, and also then the true odds from that. So heat map games, all games, and the same for over unders as well. You can see how those games have ended up. So yeah, obviously over 0.5, well, it's already 1-0, 15 of the 15, 100%. But you can see how many of them would be over 2.5, 1.36. So you could look around the 20 minutes, see what the odds are on that, on the game, on Betfair, for instance, see if you've got value. Interestingly, on the heat map, you can see here that actually all 4, it's a small sample size, but 4 of the 4 have all ended with over 2.5 goals, where the score at 20 minutes has been 1-0. So that's what the in-play part does as well. I did get another question as well about this strategy staking as well. So just going to go through this again. It does work better where the home team is priced at or around evens. So sort of in the 1.85 to 2.15 bracket. That's where it works best. Let's have a look. So what we do, I've got a risk level in here. I explained that yesterday. That's where we look to put a bet in on the under 0.5 before kickoff, and then we put an offset lay 1 tick lower. That's what we're doing there. If you're doing straight stakes, it's about half the amount. Lower risk, but also lower profitability because you're not getting your free bet in there. So let's have a look at the odds on Betfair as they stand at the minute. Cardiff are priced evens. Over 2.5 is 1.84. Over 4.5 is I'm looking at under 9.6, and under 0.5 is 12. So you can see here these games made up are of the 20. So we've got 18 in here and 2 where there's been other home wins. And you can see here the profit, overall profit. If we back this way, so you're backing at 12, £10.42, then you're laying at 11.5, 9.8 to generate your free bet. That's a ROI of just under 5% for these 20 games. the normal way of staking. So you're just staking up front, set and forget. So you put the £1.04 on the 12 odds of 12. That's drops the ROI to 3% because you're staking. You're returning more for your stake. Sorry, it's the other way around. So we're risking more doing it that way. Apologies, the other way around. So your flat stakes returning 5%. Yeah, so this is where the breakdown of all the games. So this is how many. This is the result based on the Betfair Correct Score market, and these are the occurrences. And then we've got how much you win on each market, should those outcomes come true, and then we've got the returns down here as well. So yeah, that's method 2. And like I said, it won't work on every game. You're looking for home wins, and you're looking for home wins by more than 3 goals basically in the game. So 2-1 being the minimum. We had a game Burnley last night where we looked at it. You can see 2-0 was the outcome of that game, and it's around about a break even, slight loss on that, and with the way the odds are today. But yeah, overall slightly profitable on that. So possible, but it's not a high ROI. Let's go back to the main bookmaker tab and look at the next game, which is Championship. I'm just on the other screen here. Leeds Luton. Okay, so Leeds. So we select Leeds from here. Leeds are currently priced 1.4 with the draw at 4.51. Average bookmaker odds, and they weigh 7.98. And in terms of the over-under, that is currently 1.77. The quartile 176 to 2. As I said yesterday, that's what's important, whether it would go into the lower quartile. Equally, if you wanted to do 10 or 5 either side, however you want to do it, really, entirely up to you. Okay, so we've got, of our 20 games, we've only got 10 showing, because what that's telling us is Leeds have never been lower than 1.4 whilst having an over 2.5 goal odds, average over 2.5 goals in this category, in this bracket. Where they have had odds at or around 1.4, you can see here just 5% over today's. This is today's odds, the 0 in the middle. So 5% over, 10% over, 15% over the home odds. That's what these are showing. It's a whitewash in terms of Leeds. So they've won every single one of those games where they have been. Where the odds have been between 1.76 and 2, over 2.5 goals. And the 10 closest, there's been none where they've been shorter priced in that category in the database. So there's 10 that have been slightly higher, and all of them have been home wins. If you look at that, that's obviously why you're getting the home win profit here. Overall, though, there's 71 games, so there's going to be another 61 games that are even further away from this price. That returns about scratch. So yeah, it's probably not anything of value there. And looking at Leeds down here, method 1, so where they're at home and they're between 1.26 and 1.5, about scratch, just below 39 games. So it wouldn't be really anything to give you any confidence backing them at that price based on that. However, looking at them in the coefficient between 0 and 0.25, there have been 75 games returning a profit of 3.85 unit stakes, an ROI of 5%. So that identifies there is value using the coefficient. So yeah, that's Leeds Luton. Everything's pointing to a home win there. Middlesbrough Blackburn. I'm not going to go in and do the method 3 for each one of these. It's too much faff getting the bet for us. I'm just giving you a demonstration of what it can do. Middlesbrough Blackburn. So currently priced 1.67. I watched a bit of Middlesbrough Oxford the other day. Middlesbrough looked really, really good on the break. And what's the over 2.5 on this one? Currently 1.69. Below this, the 1.51 to 1.75. 1.51 missing. Okay, here are the 20 games, 10 on each side. Bit more of a spread, but still quite a lot of green on here. However, we're looking at the ones closest really to this 0, and you can see that there's a 0.2 and there's another 0.2 in here. Now, I did explain on another video why this is shaded, because that basically means the home odds. So although the away odds were 10% away from, sorry, I'm going to explain that again. The home odds are 10% below what they are today, but the away odds were over 20% away. So if I change this to 50%, you'll see that turns back to blue. If I turn it to 5%, pretty much all of those games are turning into the shaded effect. So that's where, back to 20%, that's where those odds are 20%. That's the level I use, 20% away from what they are today. So you can see here, yeah, so we've had 2 0.2s, but on the caveat that was over 20% away from today. 0, there's a 2-0, there's 2 2-0s. In fact, there's a 0-3 twice. There's a 0-0, and then there's another home win in there and a 3-1 in there. So we've got quite a scattering and quite far out, quite far away on both sides here. The 20, there's not a cluster. Normally you've got most of them sat within this 5-10%, but actually in this instance there's quite a spread on the Middlesbrough heat map. Now looking down here, actually the value here is on the away win. So you can see that of these 20 games, there's been 11 home wins, the majority, 7 away wins. And if you'd backed all of those 20 games, the away team on all those 20 games with a 1 unit stake, you'd be £11.40 in profit, or 11 points 40 up. And even the whole database, there's only another 8 games, but that still shows profit, although that profit is eroded. It's lower than what it is. So that's showing that those other 8 games, well, you can see it's more draws in there because the draw values dropped. So it may be that you look to think, well, there's possibly value on a lay on Middlesbrough based on that alone, or 0-2, 0-3 being correct scores as an option, but not taking away the fact that there's still the majority of games are a home win, and it's only really just below scratch here. Under 2.5 is also profitable on both, as is both teams to score no. So that sort of backs up really that, you know, you could have an outside bet on a 0-2, a 0-3, a 1-0 and a 2-0. Really, that would be probably the ones to look to cover for value. And if we scroll down, you can see here actually that Middlesbrough in the method 1, where they are priced between 1.51 and 1.75, 64 games, just under a 6 unit point profit, return of investment 9%, which is pretty good. Anything above sort of 5-6% really, if you've got a big enough sample size, is reasonable. Like I said, this is using the average bookmaker price. It could be that you use this to do your analysis, or I do when you release the sheet. That's could be what you use, but you actually, you know, you want to bet at a higher price, the best odds you can get. So that could increase your return on investment and your profit accordingly. And all green through here, so that represents the true odds should be 1.49. We're seeing that at 1.67. Average last 5 home games that Middlesbrough have been in this, the over 2.5 goals have been in this bracket, this range. They've scored on average 1.8 goals per game and conceded 0.8. So these are green, where this is over 1.5 and this is below 1. They go green as well. So method 1 looks profitable. Method 2 not so. So we don't have green all around, but that signifies Middlesbrough. Now I know there are people that like to play this. They like to trade it, so drip in first 10 minutes. Again, you can look to see how many of these games have had a goal. First 10 minutes, only one game. By taking that, even perhaps the away team does. Average minute, the first goal, 30 minutes. So again, this comes down, and I can't tell you how you stake, trade, whatever you want to do, but I know that some people do. They do like to, in after the kickoff, and then when a goal is scored, they like to take some of that out. So whether that means you green up regardless of the result, or whether you take your liability out, which means you basically left with zero if it does become a draw or an away win, but your profit on Middlesbrough is slightly less. So yeah, that's Middlesbrough, Blackburn. A couple of things really, like I said, to look at there. Next game, let's have a look. Who have we got? Portsmouth, Millwall. Could be tasty, can it? Portsmouth, Millwall. Millwall are the favourites here, but odds against. So let's have a look at Portsmouth when they've been priced 3.18, 3.09 the draw, and 2.36 the away win. And let's have a look at. Just going to select here as well, English League Two, because in the last 10 years or so. Reason the Premier League's down here is they haven't played in the Premier League within this data set. So over 2.5 is 2.42, so not expecting goals here. So we look at the 2.6. So you can see here most of it is on the left-hand side, so Portsmouth quite high. There's twice actually here where they've been massive underdogs. So that's probably where their odds have been 5, 6, maybe even 30% above what they are today. Where they've been 30% lower, you can see the outcomes here. So we've got a fairly even spread, but nothing, very little in this 5 to 10% to give us any indication of a game of a similar makeup. And that's what we're trying to do here. So you'd almost be guessing really using any of this data. It's not close enough in. You've got one scoreline which was 3-1, and even then the Portsmouth odds were about 5 to 10% lower than what they are today. So have a quick look. It's all red down here on method 2. Only one game, only 3 games that have qualified. So not enough. That's why that's red. Not enough games where Portsmouth have been priced between 3.01 and 3.25. So yeah, that's probably one to skip based on the fact that it's not looking like a high scoring game given the over 2.5 odds anyway. The market doesn't think so, and the fact that Portsmouth are in a home price bracket, which is quite odd that they haven't really been in. The makeup of this game is quite unusual. So there isn't really anything that we can take from that game at all to give us any confidence in what to do. And let's look at the final game, which is Derby-Swansea. Derby. Is there another game? Was that a Friday game? I've just Sheffield United, Sunderland, Friday. Yeah, Derby-Swansea. So Derby are priced currently at 2.5. The draw at 3.16. Away win at 2.87. So the market is struggling to separate. 2.27 is the could be that do change enough to move them into another bracket before kickoff. So this is just to demonstrate the far really, rather than giving you any instruction of what to do, because we are 6 hours away from kickoff, so far out. But assuming it stays at or around here, what we can see is, so we've got closer, we're closer to the zeros on this one. So we've got 2, in fact 3 0-0s, we've got 2 1-2s, got a 0-2, a 1-1, 2 2-0s, and a 3-2 in here, and the rest are all sort of just outside really where I'd be training the eye to look. Some confidence here on Derby. So there is profit backing all 20 of these. It was only 19, apologies, 19 of these games. I can see here, yeah, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's only 9 times where the over 2.5 odds have been this high, and that Derby have been priced below the odds that they are today. So that's why we've only got 9 on that side. We've got 10 on that side, and there's another 10 as well that are even further out, so they're not shown on the heat map. But yeah, profitably, home win. It's quite a small sample size, 29, but again, that jumps up. So we've got blue. We've also got blue, both teams to score no. So that backs up the theory here with the 1-0, the 2-0 as well. Also the 0-0, and you've got the 0-2 in there as well, Swansea. We're red on method 1 because it's negative, and it's slightly negative on method 2 as well. So that's it, really. Other questions that we had. Let me just fire up the YouTube because there was a couple of questions on that. Just find those, or a couple of comments, really. Yeah, some good feedback. Really enjoyed that. Thank you. Scarily accurate. I guess the trick is knowing which games to play or leave. Yeah, absolutely, it is. And the more that you would use this, the more you'd know what your cutoff is, and what your ROI level is before you go in, or if you're looking at these staking strategy as well, what your levels are that you'd look to get involved or not. Somebody else has put, can you search by league? I've already shown that. So yeah, I could turn off Derby and just have this on the league. So depending on what league I want to, let's put on the Premier League. Just click by Premier League and just fire that up. So it's just going to search through the database to get all the Premier League games in this odds bracket. And you can see there's probably going to be some gaps where there's more games. So if we were looking at 2.25, so yeah, we just want to select the 2.25 to 2. Hang on. Making a pig's ear of this, aren't I? Forgotten what I'm doing. I'll deselect the 2.25 and we'll scroll down to select the 2.48 to 2.5. Just holding control, but you can also toggle it through here. So, like I said, because we're looking at the whole Premier League with this odds bracket, we're looking at so many games meeting this criteria, top 20. Not team specific. So yeah, the answer to the question is you can search by league, but you can have a bigger sample. So from that, naturally, you're going to have a tighter selection of games to see what the most common are. But there's no reason why that can't work for somebody if that's what they want to do. The video is about showing the makeup of the games by teams who perform certain ways at home, but yeah, you can absolutely look at it by league. And just looking through the comments on the Telegram as well, there's a few comments from members saying the press from time would happily purchase this kind of dashboard. Thanks. So that's great feedback, and the more people interact now at this stage, I can make the tweaks and adjustments if needs be to suit what people want. Also, another comment: do you use it for the away teams? So I did answer that one. So this is built looking at home team only, home team being the denominator. Obviously, an away team, Southampton travelling to QPR, for instance, is a lot shorter distance than when they travel to Newcastle. So you've got a variable factor in there, whereas a home team plays their home games at home, and assuming they don't change their stadium or they get turfed out and evicted, which obviously does happen. But you've got a standardised constant there, which is why I use the home team as the denominator in this. Is there any way to speed up looking at the games, do you think? Could be a lot on any given day, more on a Saturday. Well, we're looking at quite a lot of data. And the the variables are dynamic. So, the more the quicker you make it, the less detail you're probably going to get. It doesn't necessarily mean it can't evolve, and I can look at other approaches, but the way the dashboard's meant to be designed at the minute is looking at several things to try and present this in one line of data, which would probably be the only way you'd get the speeds. It'd be a lot more difficult, I think, to see and represent. Let's have a look what else we've got. I think that's pretty much it. It was just good feedback from people just saying that they found edges looking at the video from yesterday, and saying that it basically gave them what I said in the video is what transpired. So that's that's all good feedback. I'll probably leave the video there. So hopefully you enjoyed that. It gave a little bit of insight. Like I said, don't take too much into what I've said today because we're so far away from kickoff. I just wanted to get this video done. I did say I would try if I could. I'm going to be short of time for the rest of the day. So better to get it done and get people's thoughts, generating ideas. And again, anybody that wants to take this and try and build and replicate something similar, I'm all for it. That's exactly why we provide the source data for you to be able to go away and take it and use it to your requirements. And if by me doing a video like this gives you some ideas, then absolutely box ticked on that one. Thank you all for your time. I will be back, a couple more videos, and I will obviously keep you updated when we come through to make this a commercial product.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more useful content.